international broadcast, the Rugby Americas North ran senior women's 12s and the men's under-19 tournament at the Mona Bowl, University of the West Indies in Jamaica from Wednesday, July 14, that's this Wednesday, to Sunday, July 17. The tournament will see competition among 12 teams from 8 countries, TNT, Jamaica, Mexico, Bermuda, St. Lucia, Cayman Islands, USA, and Dominican Republic. The RAN tournament is being played for the first time since 2020 due to the pandemic, and we're pleased to be joined in studio by Communications Manager of Rugby Americas North, Bryan Kelly, and Captain of TNT's women's team, Leah Kintiba. Leah, welcome. Bryan, welcome.
Thanks very much for having us.
Good. You know, I wouldn't say I'm a huge rugby fan, but I'm a big rugby fan. Yeah? Big rugby fan. There was a promo that ran on Fox Sports then that said, you know, the difference between a rugby player and a player from the gridiron NFL in the USA. The NFL guys have on the helmets and the pads and everything. The rugby players have on a shirt. That's just it, yeah? I think that in professional sports, I have a special place for boxers and their toughness. But I think rugby players are particularly tough, and I respect the hell out of the women and men who play rugby. So I just feel I had to start the interview with that. All right?
Well, starting off with a compliment is a great way to kick it off. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, so rugby is an incredible game played around the world, men's, women's. There's actually 2 variations of the sport, similar to volleyball, where there's beach and indoor, so 6-on-6 and 2-on-2. In rugby, there's 2 different versions of the sport. There's rugby 7s, which is in the Olympics, and rugby 15s, which is 15 versus 15, much longer games. And this is what we're playing here this week in Kingston, Jamaica. And we're really excited to be here on behalf of Rugby Americas North, throwing these 2 fantastic tournaments with these great athletes like Leah.
Yeah, you know, Bryan, the COVID pandemic, of course, put a spanner in the works of everything, rugby not accepted. So the building coming out of the pandemic into this new tournament, this fresh tournament that you're hosting here in Jamaica, what are some of the things that have gone into making this a reality?
Yes, as you said, COVID-19 was really difficult for our entire region. A lot of the countries that were not able to practice, to compete, and Rugby Americas North was not able to host these tournaments. First time since 2019 that we're back throwing these events, which is fantastic, and this is what we need. And so this event that we're throwing this week is a development competition. So we've got our men's under-19 tournament. This is the first taste of international competition where a lot of these athletes will have. And for the women, it's their first time playing since 2019. And as I said, this is 15s rugby, but because our region is still growing, and we're trying to get the rugby ball into the hands of as many female players in our region as possible, they're playing what is called 12s. So it's just, as it sounds, 3 less players on the field, slightly shorter games, because we're trying to build from 7s to 10s to 15s, which is also played around the world, which is the big one played around the world. So yes, this is a development tournament, and yes, a lot of these athletes, this is their first time getting back on the pitch in a couple years. You will not see teams playing casually. This is going to be a strong, fast, fit, and fierce competition for all 4 days this week.
Yeah. Leah, the challenge in front of you and the TNT team. Well, first of all, what's the vibe in the camp like ahead of their games starting on Wednesday?
Well, right now the females are really excited to play. Since 2019, majority of the females haven't been playing since. We did play in the 7s tournament, I think, a couple of months back, and that gave us a little growth after the pandemic now. That helped us to build ourselves, build our confidence, build our mindset. So going forward right now, the females are ready and ready to rumble. Yeah,
tell me about your preparation though, because as you acknowledged the disruption and not having games, the preparation in terms of training and the competition that you play against in training to get you ready for a tournament of this nature.
Well, we played the training session was really good during this time, getting prepared for this tournament, because we have been playing against our under-19 boys back home also.
You've been beating them. Go on.
Well, we have been working with them also to get the females and them more aggressive, more willingness, more building their confidence in playing the sports. So that is what we was using as a stepping stone to go forward within the tournament. So this is what we have been using. This is how we have been training. So the coaches and them had a game plan, and they put it into motion, and we execute it.
What brand of rugby does TNT's women play?
An aggressive brand of rugby. We have been pushing forward, moving forward with it, getting there. We might use some, flexible game of rugby also too, because we might try to use people to bring the rugby forward, push us forward, and all those things. So we would be doing that. So majority of the time, it's more aggressive sport we will be playing. So we will use the aggressiveness, the fitness, training to go building our speed, our confidence, all those things within the rugby. So that is what we have been using since to get there.
A rugby player's diet, Leah. Give me an idea of the dietary regime that you have to follow to build yourself into shape and do the work.
Well, majority of the rugby players, we use gym. According to what your body is, according to what position you'll be playing on the field. So like a winger, majority of the wingers are slim. Majority of the forwards will be more bigger.
What's your position?
Well, I'm a forward.
Yes.
Used to be a winger, but now I'm a forward now. So I would do more gym work and all of those stuff to get myself there. Eat a lot of machine and food and all that to build myself going forward. I will do a lot of sprints also too. Although that I am playing forward, I do a lot of sprints to get myself there. So I will always be mobile within the sport. So yeah. So that is very important to us. So we take that really important.
Bryan, when Jerry Benswick was here with us last week, I asked of him a question that caused him to laugh. I said to him, well, if there was a situation that among the teams competing from the various countries, if there would be any chasm, any yawning gap between one team and the other. And he said, well, he acknowledged that there are some teams in the region that are more advanced than others, but at the end of the day, it's competition. And, maybe the COVID-19 would have caused an equalizing, a leveling of the playing field, so to speak. So I'll put that same question to you. In terms of what the viewers are coming out to watch at the Mona Bowl and what the many others will be watching on SportsMax, are they likely to see lopsided games, or is the level so competitive that they'll be fighting tooth and nail for each point earned, and it will be a full gore all the way to the end of the games?
Well, that's a great question. And just to explain to everyone that's tuning in now, so Rugby Americas North is one of the 6 regional governing bodies of World Rugby. So there's Canada, USA, Mexico, and all of the Caribbean. That's one region. Then there's South America, there's Europe, there's Asia, there's Africa, then there's Oceania. So our region encompasses, as I just said, Canada, USA, Mexico, and all of the Caribbean. And you've got some very different countries there with a lot of different styles of rugby that have more infrastructure than others, more players. So a team like USA South, which represents 3 or 4 of the states down in the southeast, so your Florida, your Georgia, places like that. And then there's countries like St. Lucia, which are quite small, but very passionate rugby players. So with a tournament like this, we don't know a lot of the athletes coming into it, especially in the under-19, because there's an age gap. There's an age cap on it. So it's essentially a tournament where we don't know what's going into it, where the athletes playing against each other will not know who they're facing. They don't have scouting reports. There's no TV footage of their previous games. So they're coming in saying, you know what, let's just focus on ourselves. Let's focus on what we can control the controllables. Let's work hard. Let's eat well. Let's get in the gym. Let's focus on our preparation. There very well could be some blowouts this weekend, and that's fine. This is a development competition. Yes. We're trying to build for the future. We're trying to get back from COVID-19. We're trying to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, regions in World Rugby. We're trying to get more athletes playing high-quality competition, scoring better tries, competing on the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series, and we're trying to get more competition because that's what we need. We have the athletes in this region. The Caribbean is known for sprinters, yes, being fast, being big, being strong, being skilled. We just need to get them playing more games and more meaningful games. And so that's what you're going to see this week. Yes, this might be the first competition that these athletes have played internationally or the first time in a number of years, but they're going to come out flying this weekend, and it's going to be very exciting.
You said something that triggered something else, because if you divide the rugby world by regions, and I'm going to divide it by the teams that I watch in the big rugby tournaments. So the way the Europeans play, there are commonalities. Yeah, the French, the English, the Welsh, especially the Irish, so forth. The Argentines, they play a different way from those European nations, and of course the Aussies and the All Blacks, the New Zealand, they play a different way. Is there a way? Is there perhaps an overarching philosophy that you could attach to how rugby is played in this region, which admittedly is not as developed as the places I've cited before?
Okay, so I'll start with Mexico, for example. Mexico, quite a big nation with a lot of people, and when they have been on the international stage over the last few years, they've been very well drilled and very well coached. So you'll notice this weekend both, just their men are here. Their women's team are training for another event, so they're not here. But their men's team are very well drilled. When the play is going on, all the players who aren't involved in it, they know where they're going right for the next play. The game just keeps moving on and on. They're very focused, they're very well drilled, and well organized. Some of the other teams in the Caribbean who are just known for being fast and being sprinters, they just try and get the ball into space and let the speed do the work, because there's no substitute for speed in the game of rugby. And so if there's time and there's space, if the defense allows you to have that, then they're gone. And we see a lot of that in the game of rugby sevens, which is the one that's in the Olympics, because there's just same size field with only 7 players against 7. So when a tackle is made, the number of players drops significantly, so there's more space. In the game of 15s, it's a little bit more of a chess match, so there's more kicking, there's more strategy, there's more set pieces, which are scrums, which are line-outs and things like that. So your rugby IQ has to be a little bit higher in the game of 15s, but the speed and the tenacity is here, and you'll see all sorts of strategy this week.
Leah, when you speak to the players in your team, looking at the task ahead of you for this tournament this week, what's the collective ambition of the group? What do they want to achieve this week?
My team, their goal is to win the tournament. So, which is everybody's goal. So as I will explain to them, and I will talk to them, and I will tell them, is that every game we go into like if it's the finals. We don't take no team for granted because we don't know what they are coming with. So that is just what we would be working on, and that's what we will be going forward with from now on until the tournament.
For how long have you been playing this game?
Well, since 2017 was my first time playing, and I made my first national team in 2018.
Which sport did you play before rugby?
Netball and basketball.
Oh, so you're always an athlete from high school till now?
Yes, I have.
There you go. Bryan, I give you the last word. So it is a historic staging of this event of this magnitude here. Historic, the partnership between RAN and SportsMax. In a nutshell, what are viewers, those who love rugby and those who want to be converted to being lovers of rugby, what should they expect?
Well, rugby is a fantastic game. As I mentioned before, it's played all the way around the world, and it's got a very unique culture in the game of rugby, that it doesn't matter your size, it doesn't matter your age, your gender, your sexual orientation, everything. All that matters is you love the game, and you come out and you cheer on your teammates, you play hard, and there's a huge amount of respect involved in the game. And you'll also notice that in rugby, player welfare is the most important part of the game, whereas you watch gridiron, when 2 players make a tackle, they're going helmet on helmet or helmet on knee, and it's, the players can't play for very long. As you said, rugby is a very physical game, but player welfare is very important. So when tackles are made, they're made, shoulder onto hip. Anytime there's a contact above the shoulder line, it's an automatic penalty, if not a yellow card. The referees are really looking to make sure the game is safe, played intensely, but also played, with player welfare as the top concern. Our partnership with SportsMax is fantastic for us at Rugby Americas North, because we're trying to get as many people watching the game of rugby, getting hooked on the game of rugby, and ultimately young boys and girls holding a rugby ball in their hands and running around their communities and enjoying the game that we love, that we travel around the world playing and working and being involved in. And so for us to be in Jamaica for the first time in however long, I haven't been involved in RAN since the last time we've been here, but it's nice to be here. It's nice to be with SportsMax, and it's nice to have rugby back underway in the Caribbean. We love it.
Excellent. Leah, Bryan, thank you very much for stopping by. I can tell you that, look, rugby, massive, massive business in many parts of the world. In England, there are still men who don't have to buy, will never have to buy another drink in a bar as long as they live, because they've been heroes of England's most recent World Cup winning side. Martin Johnson, the captain, we spoke about Johnny Wilkinson, that famous drop goal that won the World Cup for them, and so many stars. The New Zealanders have many big stars from rugby as well, and the All Blacks are one of sport's great teams. The teams competing in the RAN tournament in Jamaica at the UA Mona Bowl from Wednesday to Sunday. Potentially, we could have some world stars emerging from that tournament as well, and it will be a special treat for you if you can watch and identify that young talent breaking through, men and women. It will be worth your time, I guarantee it. Back with more on the SportsMax Zone after these.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.